So, all right. Okay, we're recording now. So, hi to anybody who watches this later. So, we have just a couple of team members on here, but I really wanted to do our Zoom on a Friday this weekend in particular because it's a big weekend coming up, and I actually heard, so those of you who don't watch football or don't know, it's the Super Bowl. So even those who don't really care about the people playing in the Super Bowl like me, we're still having a Super Bowl party with our family because that's what we do. So I heard on the radio yesterday when I was going to take my son to school that the Super Bowl, people during the Super Bowl while they're watching will consume about, on an average, of 2,400 calories just during the Super Bowl per person. 2,400 calories. That's more than most of us need in a day. And we are consuming that on average per person just during the game. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to kind of talk about some things that we can do to stay on track, because weekends are hard for everybody no matter what's going on. But if you know there's going to be parties and things going on, I think it gets even trickier. So what I kind of want to talk about first was some strategies to avoid getting off track on the weekend, especially Super Bowl weekend, and then also some things that we can do to help us make better choices and stay on track all the time. So, you're dropping a car here. Sorry, I've got Nixon on my lap there, my little helper. Say hi, Nixon. He likes to see people on the computer, so he thinks it's fun, huh, bud? So anyway, a couple of things. What kind of goes through your mind when you know there's going to be a party going on or an event that you have to go to that's going to have food, or something that you know is going to derail you from your plan?
Great food.
Yes. Anything else?
It's going to be a challenge. We know that. But, I will just try to focus on the healthier options.
Okay.
More of the vegetable trays, and the diet drinks.
Uh-huh.
And we'll try to do less alcohol.
Yeah. So a lot of us, when we even think about those things, you kind of have to make a choice, and you have to, well, not kind of, you do have to make a choice, but you kind of need to make that choice before you get in the situation, because a lot of times, I know for myself and for a lot of my clients that I have, when you know you're going into a social situation, there's going to be a party, there's going to be food, there's going to be a family gathering, whatever it might be, it causes some anxiety, or it causes some of those for anxiety for some people, or maybe some feelings of, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do for, different things, or, how am I going to make these decisions? Am I going to let myself enjoy everything and feel guilty afterwards, or am I going to stay strict with things? So I found it best if we beforehand make a plan. So I like what Joanne said. Okay, we're going to try to have some healthier options. For my family, we have people coming and they wanted to have some traditional foods like some nachos or pigs in a blanket, things like that are not really healthy for you.
Yes.
No, can you guys still see?
Up. I'm sorry. I can just join the meeting with me.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, all right. So I think we lost Landon for a minute. Hopefully he'll get back on here, but so what I was saying, that I think it's a really good strategy. My sister that's on our team, Suzanne, is actually coming to my house for the Super Bowl. So we talked about it and we said, okay, we need to have some better options here too. So we came up with some, we're going to have like some good veggie trays, some fruit trays, some good protein options, some things so that, for us, we decided, okay, we'll let ourselves have a little bit of the unhealthy stuff, but we're going to try and stay on track with our goals and what we want to do. Now, is it wrong if you say, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to let myself enjoy and eat whatever I want? No, it's not wrong. And if that's the most important thing to you, if that is really more important to you than your goals, and reaching your weight loss goals, reaching your challenge goal, whatever it might be, then that's okay. But if you make that choice beforehand, then you're mentally making that choice too. You're not just emotionally making that choice in the moment. So that's what I would say is, really sit down and evaluate before the party starts, before, in the morning, first thing, do your quiet time, do your 10 deep breaths, and then really think about, go through, read that list that I talked about writing, and remind yourself, okay, what do I really want to do? What's my challenge goal? What's my long-term goal? What do I really want to accomplish? And I wanted to read you guys something. This was out of Discover Your Optimal Health. So I know some of you have probably seen or heard about this book. The ones that are my clients I know have. The rest of you, you can get this book. You can get it through our website. I can hook you up with it, or you can get it like on Amazon and do an ebook version too. But there was one thing that Dr. A wrote in here that I really, really liked. It talks about managing your inside and your outside. So it talks about, embracing these healthy habits or whatever. And then I really liked this part, Nixon. Shh. So it says, first, you are the one responsible for your health and your thoughts. You need to be the dominant force in steering yourself toward the optimal health you desire. You are not blaming others for what you are in charge of accomplishing. So stop blaming yourself for other people's issues. You're responsible for you, and they are responsible for them. So it's really up to us to take charge of that. And so, and really saying, okay, I'm in charge of making these decisions. And second, he said, if you never say to your children that you're stupid, why would you call yourself stupid or ugly or 100 other negative things? Stop judging yourself and treat yourself with kindness and the good intention that you would your children, your friends, or those that you love. So don't beat yourself up. Don't let it be, take your emotions out of it. That's why we do our deep breaths and things. And that way, when we get to our stop, challenge, and choose, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm so awful. Why did I do this? Or why did I eat this? I can't do it. I'm just going to give up. Then we can take it out of it and say, hey, I am good. I've accomplished a lot of things. And you can emotionally take yourself out of it. You can take a step back from that here and now and say, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to get a drink of water before you go to your party. You've done these things, and say, okay, this is what I'm going to allow myself to do. And when I accomplish that, I'm going to feel good about it, whether it was that I'm going to let myself eat a little bit of things that maybe aren't exactly in my plan, or if I'm going to stay completely strict on my plan. There's still ways that you can do that, and you can enjoy the day, you can enjoy your party, make it about your family and your friends and your activities more than you make it about food. Because a lot of times social things become just a way that we can indulge in foods that really aren't healthy. So maybe find one little thing that you let yourself indulge if that's important to you. Have everything else focus on your family and your friends and your activities that you're doing, instead of letting yourself get sucked into that time when you're going to emotionally make that decision, or people are going to be devil's advocate and say, oh, you really want to eat this, or look at this whole huge spread out there, and you're just going to throw caution to the wind, and then how are you going to feel afterwards?
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's just me and you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just us again?
Well, no, Landon was on, but he
Landon was on. I think he said he was having some connection problems, so he might come back on here in just a second. But really, think about the times when you have let yourself just go hog wild. How do you feel when you're done?
You feel terrible. You really do.
Yeah. The only time you enjoy it is while that food is in your mouth, right?
Yep.
Because mentally and emotionally, that isn't really what you want. You get that, they've talked about on some of our webinars, your conscious brain and then your limbic system brain.
Yeah.
Stuff. And it's in those moments, it's your limbic system brain saying, oh, but that would taste so good. I really have to have some. And when you're eating it and you're like, yeah, that's so good. This is great. And then right after you're done, you just feel terrible. You feel terrible not only physically because your body's like, oh, I can't handle this, but you also feel mentally terrible because it isn't really what you want. And so then you add more of that structural tension that we're talking about, and where your mind is saying, I want to be here, but I know I'm here. And so it's creating that structural tension, which can sometimes be used to our advantage, but it creates more of that and more of that uncomfortable feeling, which then if we let it, can lead some of us to just give up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But we need to realize that it's okay. Like if we mess up, it's okay. But if we take that time to make those decisions beforehand, we are far more likely to stick to what our plan was. And if we know ourselves well enough to know that that really is super important to us to eat, a little bit of something, or to have, whatever food it was that was there, then, work that into your plan. Make sure that you let yourself have that and don't beat yourself up over it. Make sure that then you say, okay, but I'm right after that, I'm right back on track. I'm not going to take the whole entire day or the whole weekend or the whole whatever to blow everything and then feel really guilty and get back on track. And it's saying, okay, I told myself I could do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat, a couple chips or a couple, whatever it is that you really like, or eat some chocolate. And then I'm going to fill up the rest of on vegetables, and I'm going to feel good about myself.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Instead of beating ourselves up, because I really liked that, what Dr. A said. If you would never tell your children or your friends or your spouse negative and bad things about themselves, then really why should we tell ourselves those things? It doesn't lead anywhere good. So make sure we take that, 10 minutes, take those 10 deep breaths, take your little bit of quiet time, and then really say, okay, what is it that I want to accomplish? And what am I going to allow myself to do? And I think that's going to be the key to making it through the weekend and having our goals intact so that we can reach our challenge goals. So
that sounds great. I like to psych myself out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't psych yourself out. You can all do this. Like, the power is in us, because we said, we get to make our own decisions, right?
Right, that's right.
Nobody makes them for us. We're in total control. So no matter what we choose, we're in control of that. And that's going to make the difference.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So is there anything else, any other challenges, concerns, things that that you guys can think about that you wanted to talk about before we're done?
I have a trip coming up and I'm going to be leaving out on the 14th. We're driving all day, and when we close this, it's going to be on the 15th, right?
The challenge actually ends on the 16th, I think. I need to look at a calendar. Whatever that Monday is, I think it's the 16th.
It is the 16th? Okay.
Yeah, so it actually ends on the 16th, but we will have, there will be like a week-long time where you can weigh out like there was last time. So even if you're not going to be at a computer or by your scale or whatever, you can do you would be able to do your way out before you left.
No, she's leaving before the way out.
Well, I guess as long as I got my iPhone, I'll be okay.
You have to bring the scale with you.
But yeah, I know, that's the problem, my scale.
So you can either take until that final day, but it'll give us a few days before the final day is what I'm saying. So if you want to, like my brother-in-law Nevin had the same thing happen. He was gone for the last few days of the challenge for a work thing. And so what we had him do was he did his way out and took his pictures and everything before he left and submitted them before like the final day of the challenge. Does that make sense? Because it'll give you a week-long time where you can weigh out.
Right, but you have to have that number.
It'll give you that number too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it'll give you everything, just like if you waited until the last day, it'll give you that number anytime during that week.
Okay, that sounds good.
So if you're leaving on the 14th, then I would just do that. Do your way out, take your pictures and stuff that morning, and then you can submit them.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess I have to be really, really good because mine's going to be early.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing. If you want to do it early, it does cut your time a little bit short. So that's why some people, if they're still trying to get those last couple pounds or in those last couple points or whatever, then they want to wait until that whole thing. Some people have already reached their goal and their points or whatever a few days before, and that's fine. So then they can just submit it. So it really is up to you. Or the other option, like Joanne said, you could take your scale and your phone with you and
yeah. No, I won't be taking my scale with me. So I'm just going to have to weigh in on that Saturday before we leave home. Yeah. And then as long as I do the weigh in with the scale, then I'll be okay as far as the iPhone and the rest. So Yeah, I'll just have to be super good and make sure that I accomplish my goals by then.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
but even more incentive to be good this weekend, right?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yep.
So, yes, every day counts now. Well, every day always counts because we're making lifelong habits. So every day counts, but in a time perspective, every day counts towards that.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had.
That's it.
And
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. All right. Well, I hope that this is helpful to you guys. I hope if there's anybody else who watches this later, I'm gonna email it out to everybody with a link to watch the playback here in just a few minutes. If there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to message or call me or whatever, and I can help you. That's what I'm here for. If you're getting discouraged because you're not quite getting to your goal and the time is getting down there, give me a call because there's things that we can do to bump up your progress, things that that I know of that can help you. So anyway, give me a call and let me know. And then otherwise, have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Be healthy, and we'll see you later. Say bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.